It's 9:47 p.m. on a school night in 1999. You've been waiting 3 hours for everyone to get off the phone. Your dad finally hangs up. Your mom's in bed. This is your window. You double-click the AOL icon, and that modem starts its digital screaming, that chorus of screeches and static that sounds like robots arguing. 45 seconds later, you're in. You're online. You exhale. And then you hear it. Downstairs. The phone. Someone picking up the phone. That sound, the click, the dial tone bleeding into your ear. It didn't just disconnect you. It triggered something primal. Panic. Rage. The specific flavor of dread that comes from knowing your window just slammed shut. That you'll have to start over. That you might not get another chance tonight. But here's what's strange. That feeling, it wasn't really about the internet. What you were experiencing was something psychologists call scarcity anxiety under constraint. And understanding why that moment felt so catastrophic might explain why you still check your phone 40 times a day. Dial-up internet existed in this bizarre evolutionary moment, where connection was possible but never guaranteed. It wasn't like today, where Wi-Fi just exists in the air like oxygen. You had to fight for it, negotiate for it, win it. And your brain knew that connection was scarce, limited, precious. You only had one phone line and everyone needed it. Your mom needed to call your grandma. Your dad was expecting a work call. Your sister wanted to talk to her boyfriend for the 9th time that day. The phone line was a single resource with infinite demand, and you were at the bottom of the hierarchy. Psychologists have studied this exact dynamic. It's called resource scarcity under social constraint, and it does something specific to your nervous system. When a resource is both valuable and unpredictable, your brain shifts into a hypervigilant state. Every moment you have access feels borrowed, stolen, like it could end at any second. Think about the last time your phone was at 2% battery and you didn't have a charger. That low-level panic, that need to ration every tap, every swipe. That's what being online felt like in 1999. Except the battery was your family's patience and it was always at 2%. But it goes deeper than scarcity. Because here's what you probably haven't articulated. That phone pickup wasn't just an interruption. It was a violation. An intrusion into a space that felt like yours. When you were online, you weren't just connected to the internet. You were connected to a world where you had control. Where you could choose who to talk to, what to read, what to explore. AIM wasn't just a chat program. It was a social space where you curated your identity. Your away message was poetry. Your buddy list was a hierarchy. Your profile was a manifesto written in song lyrics and inside jokes. And someone picking up the phone, that wasn't just a technical failure. It was your parents asserting their authority over your autonomy. It was the physical world, their world, pulling you back from the digital world where you were becoming someone. Researchers who study adolescent development talk about this tension constantly. Teenagers need what they call identity workshops, spaces where they can try on different versions of themselves without adult supervision. In the 90s and early 2000s, the internet was that workshop. It was the only place where you could talk to your crush without your mom listening from the kitchen, where you could join a forum about your weird niche interest without being judged, where you could be anonymous or at least more honest than you could be at the dinner table. And the phone line was the tether, the leash, the reminder that your access to that world was always conditional. So when you heard that click, that intrusion, you weren't just frustrated about losing your connection. You were experiencing something deeper, the collision between dependence and autonomy. You needed your parents for everything. Their house, their rules, their phone line. But you were also desperately trying to carve out a space that was yours. And that phone pickup, it was a reminder that nothing was really yours. Not yet. This is the part that's uncomfortable. You weren't actually free online. You were just experiencing a different kind of constraint. You traded your parents' rules for the tyranny of the modem, the 56K bottleneck, the constant negotiation. You thought you were escaping into autonomy, but you were really just practicing for a life where connection would always come with conditions. And here's the shadow side nobody talks about. That scarcity made it addictive. Because the internet wasn't always available, every minute online felt urgent, precious. You couldn't waste it. You had to optimize. Talk to 3 people at once. Download that song even though it'll take 30 minutes. Check that forum one more time before someone makes you log off. Psychologists call this intermittent reinforcement, and it's the most powerful pattern for creating compulsive behavior. When a reward is unpredictable, when you don't know if you'll get it or when, your brain obsesses over it. Slot machines work this way, dating apps work this way, and dial-up internet? It was the original intermittent reinforcement engine. You couldn't just check AEM whenever you wanted. You had to wait for your window, fight for your access, and then maximize every second because you didn't know when you'd get another chance. That's not freedom. That's scarcity, training your brain to treat connection like a drug. So what do we do with this? Because here's the thing. You're not on dial-up anymore. You have unlimited connection, infinite access. The thing you were desperately fighting for in 1999, constant, uninterrupted internet, you have it now. Your phone is always connected, always online, always available, and somehow you still feel that panic. Because the technology changed, but the psychology didn't. Your brain still treats connection like it's scarce, still checks compulsively, still feels that low-level dread that you might miss something. The dial-up anxiety never left. It just learned to disguise itself as notification anxiety, FOMO, the inability to put your phone down at dinner. That kid waiting for their window to get online? They're still in there, still operating under scarcity rules in an abundance world, still treating every moment of disconnection like a catastrophe. But here's the reframe. That panic you felt when someone picked up the phone, it was teaching you something. It was showing you what happens when your sense of self becomes dependent on access to a curated digital space. When autonomy means being online. When connection feels more real than presence. The question isn't whether you miss dial-up. The question is, what are you still fighting for access to? And what would happen if you gave yourself permission to disconnect? Not because someone made you, but because you chose to. You can't go back to 1999. You can't unhear that dial-up handshake or unfeel that panic when the phone clicked. But you can recognize what it taught you, that scarcity creates urgency. Urgency creates anxiety, and anxiety makes you mistake access for freedom. That kid sitting in the dark at 9:47 p.m., desperately guarding their fragile connection, they were learning to be you, someone who checks their phone 40 times a day, someone who feels phantom vibrations, someone who still on some level believes that disconnection is catastrophe. But here's the truth they never learned, and maybe you're ready to hear it now. The most important connections don't require a phone line. They never did. The panic was real. But so is the moment you decide to let it go.